Hey, how's it going, everybody? With Doug Upstone, we are DocSports.com. Big time tournament action in the Big Ten on Friday. Nice one between Ohio State and Purdue. Buckeyes survived that heated comeback yesterday, dominated for Minnesota for most of the first 38 minutes of that game, led by 12 with a few minutes to go, and then had to hang on and get the 4-point win at the end. Did not get the cover. They're laying 1.5 here, Doug. Big question mark for me with this Ohio State team, who was in a great spot yesterday, is can they keep Purdue from grabbing offensive boards? They got crushed by Minnesota yesterday in that category. They got outscored 20-4 in second chance points. And, I had 2 day games on Thursday, and I was in the state of Ohio for both. One easily with the Bobcats. Looked like we were going to cruise to an easy win with Ohio State. But again, that difference was that they got outworked on the offensive glass. If they don't box out and board better against Purdue, boy, I'm telling you, this good offensive rebounding Boilermaker team is likely to knock off Ohio State for the third time in 3 tries this season.
Yeah, Scott, I would agree with you on that completely. Ohio State now has failed to cover their last 5 contests, losing 4 of them. And, as you said, they're 10.5-point favorites today and didn't get the job done closing out the situation. Now, at the end of the regular season, I should say, Ohio State did play some outstanding teams like they were up to that point. They just didn't get the job done. And the problem that I foresee here in this spot is the same types of problems that they've had before, both being mentally and physically tough. And they've gotten worked in the paint, as what you're talking about, by all these other teams they have played recently. And Purdue, talk about toughness. With Matt Painter as your coach, you're gonna bring it. And the Boilermakers, they're going to be one of the teams that's going to be very difficult to beat in the very near future, and possibly as soon as next year, because they have 3 outstanding freshmen, and you add in big guys. And one of the big freshmen is Zach Edey, and along with the other big guy that they have in Trevion Williams, and they can really cause a lot of disruption in the paint against Ohio State. So I think that's going to be a potentially big problem for them. The other thing I'm looking at in this one, in Big Ten tournaments, 5 seeds, when favored by 12 points or less, are now 1-10 against the spread, and that's Ohio State, Scott. So you know what? I'm going to back the Boilermakers in this one.
There's also a real good one that got blown up yesterday by the Buckeyes, which is teams that are favored after losing 4 straight games going into the conference tournament were like 17-6 or something like that. So it's like, I hate trends and angles. I'm sorry. I use them as backup, I guess you can say, at the end of my conversation to make me sound smart. I don't know. But there are guys who come up with good numbers like yourself, and that's a good one. Hey, listen to these numbers. Talk about numbers. 4 games prior to Minnesota, you hit it on the head. Ohio State played, tough opposition down the stretch. 3 of the teams they played down the stretch out of the 4 are in a lot of people's top 5 or 6 power rating wise. But in 4 games prior to Minnesota, they allowed over 55% 2-point shooting. They allowed almost 40% 3-point shooting. They got to the free throw line 25 fewer times than those 4 opponents. And if you throw Mini into the mix, Minnesota, the last 5 games now, they're minus 14 on the offensive glass. Power rating wise, I understand why the books have to make Ohio State the short fave to open things up here. But listen, I look at those numbers of late. I listen to what you said, especially not only with your Big Ten 5-seed angle, but also the fact that you mentioned they're not tough, and I think it's tough to back the Buckeyes. So a lean for me on Purdue. Doug Upstone also leaning that way. And don't forget, folks, that $60 free account you see at the top of your screen. If you have yet to become a member at DocSports.com, you just click on the link below the video, and you get yourself set up for a free $60 account. You can then use those free $60 on any of Doug's daily packages, any of mine, or anybody else at DocSports.com. All right, we're both looking towards Purdue on Friday. For Doug Upstone, I'm Scott Spreitzer. We are DocSports.com. Let's put them in the win column.